Mercia. Made for Coventry and Warwickshire.
I'm Leigh Waite and I'm a Blue Badge tourist guide. If people don't know anything else about the city, they know something about the fact that we lost a cathedral in the war and that we have a new one. We're the only city to have a post-war cathedral. I've brought you to what I think is one of the most lovely places you can come to in the city. We're right in the cathedral quarter. We're surrounded by a whole collection of tiny medieval lanes. We're actually right next to Hilltop, which is just beautiful, a little cobbled street stretching away down the hill towards Pool Meadow. But you can't see any of that because the view is mostly unchanged around here. It's like a lovely little medieval haven. We are in Broadgate. Basically, because the bomb damage was so extensive in this area, pretty much nothing was left in this area. So development was probably always on the cards. It's just that with the bombing, the planners, the city architect Donald Gibson, was left with a blank canvas, and that meant he could really get stuck into what he wanted to do here. It meant that they could really get on with those plans, which, from the sounds of it, were always on the cards. It's just that the war was a sort of a handy excuse thing. So this whole section, the section that runs along in front of the Lower Precinct, Smithford Way, Ling added that. He also he changed Gibson's design essentially.
Something else which the Blitz kind of influenced, the road network.
Absolutely, yeah, the ring road, love it or hate it. Personally, I love it, it works. People will probably automatically look at this, see the concrete and assume this is all 1960s, 1970s. Well, it might surprise people to know that actually the plans were in place for this in 1945. I know people don't like the slip roads and the kind of the on-off all close together, but the original plans were for roundabouts at every junction. And whatever you think of it, this road works. I mean, when was the last time you sat in a big fat traffic jam here? It keeps the city moving.
And yeah, it's bizarre, as you say, that the plans, again, around the time of the Blitz.
This is it. I think catalyst is the word that we should use with the Blitz. A lot of these plans, they would have considered this probably anyway. Coventry's always been the city of the car in terms of like manufacture, and it meant that for a long time the ownership levels were higher here than anywhere else. So you need a city that's friendly to the car owner.
IKEA then, I mean, how does that sit with Coventry old and new? Do you think it sits quite well?
I actually do think it sits quite well. On one hand, it shows that the city is moving on, evolving, developing. We're getting big names in here, good quality retailers. But I think it does sit very well with it. I mean, just along the road from here, you've got St John's Church and that beautiful local red sandstone. It brings colour to the city and it shows the city's still got life in it. So yeah, I think it does work.
And do you think if we hadn't had the Blitz here, would we get these kind of buildings and these developments?
I think so, yes, because Coventry is really trying to evolve and modernise and attract big businesses. We get 5 million visitors a year to the city and they put £173 million into the local economy. So yes, places like IKEA coming into the city and the bigger hotel chains and the well-known restaurants and so on, it's all good for the city. What's nice, I actually think it's really nice that you can see examples from medieval period through to post-war modern buildings through to brand new. It just shows progression, it shows development and evolution. It's a good thing. I think that yes, a lot of it still would have happened whether or not the Blitz had occurred. You've only got to look at the dates on the plans for the city to see that a lot of this is in place before the war even happens. So, you know, who knows? Maybe it was always going to end up like this.
Mercia. Made for Coventry and Warwickshire.